tobacco control tactics actually do work, especially in countries that can enforce them. And that has tended to be high-income countries. Mm-hmm. And in high-income countries, we've been able to get the smoking rates down dramatically since the 1940s, say. Now, especially after the 1960s, the smoking rates came down. A lot of that was because we ramped up the taxes, so we made cigarettes less affordable. And we implemented bans, indoor bans in bars, bans in restaurants. So we basically taxed and banned, but we also increased stigma, which is completely unethical.
Shame and demonize.
And you reach a point of declining marginal returns on added investments in taxes, bans, and stigma. And that's about where we are now in the United States, with 14% of our population smoking. So 34 million people smoking. And here, what's interesting is the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, says that 40% of all the cigarettes smoked in the United States are smoked by people with mental health issues.
Yes. And you named a whole bunch of stuff earlier.
That is just it's as if you read my mind. So we have 14% of our adult population smoking. What percentage of those people are people living with neurodiversity issues?
Almost half.
And I've asked that question of some people who are a lot smarter than me, and I don't have a straight answer yet. But I would guess you're probably right. I mean, that's a good ballpark guess, at least 40%. And so,
there are people walking around that have undiagnosed issues. Billy Bob over there, he's got a bad temper, or that Agnes over there, she's always sad, or that guy over
Skip's
there, he's always talking
moody.
to himself.
Skip's always moody.
Kevin's always talking to himself.
This discussion we've been having on social media recently about these issues, one of the things that I'm really moved by is that it's actually caused quite a large number of people to kind of come out. It's like coming out of the closet. I have ADHD, or I have, autism, or I have Asperger's syndrome. So that's great. These are wonderful people, the major contributors to our community. They strengthen us. They're wonderful people, and they are us. So the safer nicotine advocacy community has got to be a big tent, right? But it's all of these wonderful people, and this makes it much more of a human rights issue, much more of a social justice issue, and we haven't tapped those areas when we start talking to politicians or the media, or just talking to other people in the public. It's very definitely journalists don't get this.
Mm-hmm.
There still are 34 million people smoking in the country, and for the most part, they are our most vulnerable communities. It's not just people with neurodiversity issues like ADHD, bipolar, schizophrenia. It's also low-income people. It's indigenous people. It's LGBTQ people. It's people who are homeless, and it's people who use drugs. All of these things are associated with very, very high smoking rates, and smoking is killing them. So obviously, a safer nicotine alternative would be a good thing.
So
so there are places in some states where you will not be given access to mental health services if you either smoke or vape.